Okay, we're live.
Oh, we're live.
We're live.
Okay,
We're
I
right
wasn't
back.
ready. Okay.
Yep,
Hey,
we're live.
everybody. How are you guys?
Hi. It's good to see you. Those that are watching live, those that watch later, it's good to be here. We're going to keep it really brief, but we just want to do a recap on the city council meeting that we had last Thursday night. So it would have been February 19th.
Yep.
And we really wanted to pull you all in, and those of you that weren't able to make it that particular night, and share with you what happened, simply because you have been praying and letter writing and emailing and texting and just circling around everyone here at the barn. And Jamie and I both just want to thank you. Our whole family actually just wants to thank you from the center of our hearts for just the love and the care and support that you've been giving, knowing that, just knowing that there's power in prayer. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll get through it, and we just appreciate you guys more than you know. And it was pretty heavy extra days after it. It really wasn't so much about the meeting. It was more about the support. It was about when we started to see the letters, because the letters were included into the board's packets. So those of you that took the time, literally every one of those was presented to the board to be read through, to go through. And one of the interesting things that was, in the end, there was not one negative letter. So we just appreciate you guys. But more importantly, it's not even about the letters. It's about the prayer, the support that you guys had given the barn, not even us, because I do believe that the barn is much bigger than all of us. But that's exactly like our faith, that we are supposed to go vertical and not worry about the horizontal. And when we got there that night, we all prayed at the middle school behind. Mm-hmm. And man, was that powerful to look around. And it was
like a movie. I whispered to our daughter, Faith, as we're all circling around, and there's like a light mist coming down, right. And then there's this glow in the air because it was foggy. Yeah. And I looked at her, I go, I feel like we're in the middle of a movie. She goes, me too. Yeah. It was just so surreal. And the prayer of Michelle Desjardins and you giving us the marching orders, and
her voice
before we all went in there, it was awesome. I mean, 100+ people just circling around in this parking lot at night.
Yeah. It was just the presence. It's one of these things as you start getting in to see that believers, and this is why I believe that Ephesians is so, and this is marriages and relationships. Satan wants to kill, steal, and destroy. He will use anyone, any way it means necessary. But to have a body of believers like Ephesians, instead of worrying about self and me, they're worried about the kingdom. It was amazing. Mm-hmm. I mean, just the goosebumps, mm-hmm. and just the power that was in that power of just quiet prayer. And Agreed. It was just amazing. So thank you.
Yeah. Real quick, before we get into what even transpired, I want to bring people back. We don't have a whole lot of time because the men are coming soon, but I want to bring people back to, I've been getting some questions as why is there a problem? We've been here since 2017. Mm-hmm. It's 2026. Why now is all of a sudden the city saying, wait a minute, well, put a hold on everything. You need to come in and resolve this, and fill it in for me if there's anything that I'm missing. But when we started the barn in 2017, and some of you may already know this, I just want to do a quick backdrop to it all. We had already a 501c3, correct, for Barn 45 before we even, maybe the process while we were building. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I think that the right way to start. So the reason that we got called into the township is because it just became, barn became big. It just became bigger with SNL and just, I think the hoodies everywhere. And we had teachers that stood up. It's big. The problem with big is, what do I do with you and who are you? Which was the question.
Exactly. So that's what I was getting at. When we started the barn, yes, we had a 501c3 for a nonprofit, but we didn't know what the Lord wanted us to do. He just told us to build a barn, which was in alignment to the city zoning here for the agricultural residential.
Yeah. So when they came to us, they wanted to know, because we use the language that we're a heart hospital. And we use that specifically because those of you guys that have been out, that I do believe that religion is for those that don't want to go to hell, but faith is for those that have been there. And we use that language from healing, from restoration, reasons that the barn's name was the name. But in terms of laws, rules, and regulations, when we got in front of them, we had started this in 2017. We were very fortunate to have a very good Christian law firm that set everything up and said, hey, if you're going to do this, it's got to be a church. And I was sort of pushing back on him on this whole thing. And he goes, no, it's got to be this way and you've got to follow this to the letter of the law. You've got to have all your filings done. And as a matter of fact, they have taken care of that for us every year that we haven't missed, which all this stuff matters for the township to see that we are legit. Legally, we do have a board. Everything from the beginning has been set up. And it's not about being litigious, but it's also about being right.
Right.
But then from a heart level, when we built this, we had people pretty close to us that thought we were nuts because we didn't know why we were building it. We didn't know
we thought we were nuts.
Yeah. We didn't know exactly what it was going to be. It was just the fact of after California and I'd met with Bob, I'd asked Bob to come up and start something here. And he's like, I can't, I got so much going on. But for us, we just started it to be a quiet place.
A respite.
For prayer. Even the upstairs loft is set up for naps with your Bible, the whole thing. It was like legit.
I might take one or two up there.
Low flex, and that's how it started. But the township really got at ease because one, it got big and we didn't go through the proper channels of a lot of things.
Correct.
And that we'll get into that. But the bigger thing is because of where we are, it makes a big difference, the fact that we are legally a church. And you can put a church in the middle of a neighborhood. It could be anywhere. Yeah. So the good thing is that when they came out, their leadership team from the office came out, we just sat down. It was a very good meeting. Once they got to see the place, they got to see what we were doing, see all of our legal documents, the whole thing. Everything got really good and it was very a synergistic meeting. Like things were working, and really nice ladies down at the township hall. They've really helped us out a lot. Like the tax lady's been great. Beth and Carrie, just to name names, they've been really supportive to us. They've been great every time we go in there. But now in front of the board, we went through with them and we listed everything out. And now that you're a church, that separates things like how you did things residential, but you're not industrial. So there's like this middle thing. There's this middle ground that some things need to be this, some things need to be that. And because we didn't know why we started this, we didn't know. We were just trying to be very obedient to God. But there's still things that have to get in place with that. And as we walked through it with them and they started to see it, I thought the board was great. I thought when they gave feedback, they were very grace-filled. I mean, these guys were they're very kind.
Yeah.
And one of the cool things is that before I was ready to leave, you and I just said hi to everyone or goodbye. And he's like, hey, why don't you stay? He goes, we have 2 more to close. And just, you can realize this. And the reason I'm telling you guys, I watched 2 businesses that were going to come into Highland, and I watched this board, and it wasn't that they were telling them no. It was like, hey, these are the rules, these are the laws. But what I really got to see, and this is what I want you guys to pray for this board on, because this is who we get to go next. It's not that we have to, but we get to. This is where I'm excited about our next meeting. There's some smart guys on the board. And when I got to see them in the second meeting, they would be like, hey, it says this, we need you to do this, we would like to see this. It was very solution oriented, which I was very excited for, because guys that really know what they know and they're very good at what they do, I was excited because it gives a lot of opportunity and optimism that these guys, if there's a way to do it right and to come alongside, that we could do that.
So let me just recap what Jamie said, because after our 2.5-hour meeting, then they had another business come in after ours was done. So Jamie's saying that he stayed for that. We all left. He stayed for that just to see how that one went. And that's the result of you recognizing that they're willing to work. So let's go back for a minute, just so we don't keep people forever, but let's go back. So during the meeting, how it was set up is there was, I don't know, I'd say 150 to plus barn people.
They said it was the largest ever.
Yeah. This is the largest ever that had turned out, and the most respectful and quietest.
Peaceful is what they said. You talk about a fruit of the spirit of self-control. To have the most ever. We were pulling chairs out of the back to seat everyone.
Yeah.
And the lady in the front is like, this is the largest we've ever had. And she was, I'm going to note, this is the most peaceful.
The most peaceful. And I will say this, because we were in a place where I was not peaceful inside, because we're in like the in trouble table, like on the side with a microphone, and everyone else is in the audience there. And so I'm a bit nervous. You got these 5-7 board members. And all of a sudden, it's just like his spirit just, and there was a peace that just, I felt, I'm assuming everyone did. His presence was just so thick. And he had been telling me that weeks prior to walking into the meeting. He's like, Joy, I'm there already. So you come find me. Like, I'm there. And so I couldn't wait to get in there and just find the Lord and seek his presence and experience like the tangibleness, if that's a word, of of his spirit. And so that was there. And then they started off with Jamie and I just explaining, okay, what is this place? Okay. So Jamie, I shared a little bit of my background and, what happened in our marriage and how the Lord had us after 10 years of that. I went back to school and those type of things. I'm a counselor and all these things. So we explained the background of it all. Then Jamie went into the logistics of some of the issues that they had placed in the letter that they had sent to us of what brought us to the board. And Jamie went through those systematically that we can kind of go over today if we've got the time. Yeah. And real quick, but so then that happened. And then what happened next was testimonies. And so they did it by the rows. And so it was just row of one after another of crazy. We get testimonies that third Thursday. So I'm used to testimonies, but this was different. I don't know if it was because we were getting grown men that were just sharing that, addictions are gone and marriages are healed and lives are completely transformed and tears. And I mean, there were times, Jamie's not a crier. During one of the younger adults that just shared his testimony, I mean, I hear you like buckling over and I'm trying to keep it together. It's like, it was one after another. There was not one that like just fell empty. They were all just, the Lord was like dancing. He was delighting in the atmosphere. And I'm watching these men that I know one of them knows the Lord, but I don't know about the rest of them. They may or may not. That's not for me to judge, but they were incredible. And you could just see like we're all sampling a taste of like an individual revival, because that's what revival is. It happens individually. And so they're just one after another sharing that. And we did have some neighbors that came out that had some issues with some of the reasons why we were there. One of them being our lighting is some of them, it's too light for them. There were some discrepancy on the noise, but not too many. One, I think, had the wrong place because he thought it was on a different night. So there was some discrepancy, but nonetheless, it's for us to take back and think, how can we, when we have an outside event, such as the once a year annual event, there's things we can do and we can tell the city about it. So those were takeaways that we could learn. But I will say this, even the neighbors were just incredibly kind. After hearing all the testimonies, they were, I'm not going to use this word carelessly or flippantly. I really saw that they had come undone by sitting in that place, kind of like soaking in the living water where you come in maybe a little hard sometimes. And then you just hear what the Lord alone, not Barn 45, Jesus. Let's just make sure we're clear on that. Right. Jesus did. And if anything for me, James, like what I took away from that particular night, and if everything shuts down, which it won't, we can't shut down God. That to me was like, it was one of the highlights of my life. And then being able to sit there with my family, not our just biological family. I mean, you all, like our family, and just to hear testimony after testimony.
You guys have been so good to us in terms of like just your walk, your openness, your surrender, your authenticity, especially like your failures and struggles. Like that's when I feel that you start to have real friends and family, when you're just authentic about things, you have it figured out. And to see the faces and to get to hug everyone out in the parking lot and see letters and text messages. Like I was getting blown up. Like you look at what makes you really rich and wealthy. And there was that Harvard Business Review Harvard did a study that you can tell you how healthy you'll be at 80 by the friends you have at 50. And man, we're gonna be healthy. Thank God, like for the friends that I have, just good. So one of the things that that Joy said that they touched on were the lights. We were very blessed. So all the guys came out on Saturday. We circled up and prayed. We had about 20 guys. So I want to thank you guys for coming. And we were cutting everything out to make sure that we get foliage growing again, that we get all this stuff off the trees, the poison ivy and all these vines and everything that's choking everything out. But when we started, a lot of the guys had been there. And I'm like, when you're walking and praying this property, let's look and see what needs to happen. And I will tell you that this barn has been blessed with some extremely brilliant men. The ideas for a couple things, like with the lights and the sound, I didn't realize that Matt Carr actually has technology that will show lumens. It will show not even that what we can get away with. It will show respect by whatever time the light will dissipate for our neighbors. So we stay very respectful of our neighbors. And he's also got special devices that we can go towards the houses that had a complaint or said it was loud, which is only one that we had, and to make sure that we respect and honor him.
Well, there were a few that had mentioned
the sound
and the light.
So we're just going to go through our due diligence. We're going to make sure that we test different things to make sure that we don't play it loud, that we have certain things that we mark in the barn. We don't do stuff outside. Like we really just want to comply to that, because I really believe a lot of the worship that comes here is just a bunch of broken kids that need Jesus, and we don't need $1 million, sound system.
So,
and traffic.
Oh, traffic and parking was another one that they were very concerned about. And I'm actually thankful that has to change, because we had a long driveway come to the back of the acreage here. And it's hard for 2 cars to come by, again, not knowing there would be that kind of traffic, but we know now what God was up to. Also, our parking lots, we need to increase. I don't think they were taking into effect that we've got this entire parking lot back here. But
in and out, like we've already had guys like James Gottschalk's already helped with some ideas. Rex was putting all these guys are just pulling the stuff together. And it's interesting, even watching these guys with the Spirit, they're all sort of saying the same thing, the same direction. And they do this for a living. They're very, they just have a gift for this, to be able to see things that you can't see. And again, just being thankful. But all these things that came up as sort of objections, by the grace of God, the committee is very apparently solution oriented. But then the men and the people that we have in the barn, it is amazing. Like, oh, my brother does these drawings, my cousin does this. So we just want to again, thank you for community. And we're realizing that we knew we had to be obedient to build this, but we realized that we're sitting there, we're just one of the same family. It's our barn, like it's everyone's barn.
Oh yeah,
no question.
So I will say this is where we need more prayer. There's, I've had people say, well, if they tell you that you can't have more than like 35 people here right at a time, which came up, then you'll just build it somewhere else, or just go somewhere else. And maybe that's God's plan. What looks like a plan B to us, but it's a plan A to God. We don't know what God's up to. But what I want to say is that this place here we just have always experienced its holy grounds. It's used to there's so much history that was quite evil on this property. And when we found it, the Lord really directed us here. There's been so much prayer. It's like one of these places like the Billy Graham Museum. When we stepped out of our car, you just felt his spirit immediately. And this place is like that. It really is. It's not manufactured. It's not made up. You just step in this grounds. Even for us today, all these years later, every time I get out of my car, I'm just like, man. And so it'll always remain holy. This will always be God's place. But I remember when we built this place, the Lord said to me, Joy, I'm a God who takes over territory. He had me in the Old Testament for so many years. And I would see in the Old Testament, he was taking over territory little by little in the promised land. He didn't give them the whole promise at one time. He just took over property that used to belong to the enemy, but it's like, it's mine now. And so from here on out, this will always belong to the Lord. But our prayer is that they will come into agreement that we can stay here, that we can broaden. One of them said that they felt like we outgrew this place. So I just don't see that. We're almost on 14 acres. I just think there's plenty of room for plenty of people. And so this is where we have to come to a point where we believe in a God that does the impossible. We just believe that. Everything in me, God has equipped us for, like, today. We've gone through, as everyone has, through trials and struggles, and all of it is to make us resolved in knowing who God is and trusting in him. And so I believe that whatever the result is, it is God's plan, but we also have the ability and the permission to pray in alignment to God's will and what that might be. And so that's what we're just asking that you would do the same for that. Anything to add on that particular prayer?
Yeah, I think that I'm reading the comments on this. There was nothing even about shutting us down right now. The greatest thing.
Explain that. So we were.
Yeah, so we were told on the front end of this that we would have potentially up to 3 meetings.
Correct.
The first meeting, the public could come, they could say their piece, which also gives the board understanding of what the neighbors think, just things that they can really make sure that they're doing their due diligence in their positions, which I totally get. And then from there, we had to provide a detailed document of the barn, the comings, the goings, all of those kinds of things with the details. We had to go out and get a professional survey. With the Whalens were nice enough to really help us with that, and a blessing, and Alex, and we thank them for that. As we walked through this, it was like this big formal meeting to sort of put everything in the porridge, to see who we were, what we were about, and get everything sort of laid out. And then from there, at the end of the night, they said, all right, let's table this for the next meeting, which meant, okay, we've done our data collection. We have this. Here's some areas that we want to look at. We want you to specifically look into. We want you to specifically get back to us on these details, specifically lay this out for me. And again, it just took our first presentation and it just carved it about 3 or 4 layers deeper on specific parts of the packet, which we're going to start working on to present on that for the next meeting, which will, the public can come, but it's not a public meeting. Yeah, it's basically just you and I, and that will be, want to be praying for that as well. That will be a week from next Thursday. So I believe that is March 5th, 6th. Whatever that Thursday is, that first week in March is when the next meeting is. Now, there might be there might be one final meeting after that. And I think that one is in end of March or early April. Exactly. I can't remember. So all of this will get wrapped up by the end of April, by the end of March, early April. And so we will just keep, going as we're going, praying as we're praying. Your letters were instrumental. Amazing. On top of your prayers that are above and beyond. Okay. But the letters were instrumental, and they had put them all in the packets and, showed the crazy, dropped off a whole, I don't know how you could say it, like literally dropped
the
off
vanilla folder. Yeah.
I mean,
80. She's like, we have 80 more letters here. Yeah. It was great.
I know you got those. I know you got those. I know you got those. And they're like, you have more? And she's like, well, we got more today. So,
and you know what they're doing here? Bridget, who works in our office here, she's putting together a booklet of all your letters. So we'll be able to have that for the history of the barn. Yeah. I've always wanted to do that too. So that's another gift. There's so many beautiful gifts that have come as a result of what's happening with the city. And I'm really excited to actually get more into alignment now that it's almost like, when 2020 hit and we went online and everything was just a whirlwind, and then when SNL hit, and then it's just like, before we know it, we have all these kids coming here and just lives are being radically changed. It's not just the amount of people for SNL. It was just these kids' lives were being completely wrecked in the most beautiful way. And so before we know it, we're like in a frenzy. And then that's when the city, of course, grabbed hold of it. And so we're grateful to come along in alignment with the city and become an official church. So that doesn't mean that we're going to be Sunday services, but we will be an official church. It just means that we're going to continue doing as we're doing, but we will be. You're giving me that smile. We are a church.
Legally, 100%.
Yeah, but
you wouldn't know a difference. We're just going to be. It's the barn won't change, but
correct.
what the city knows and what we have, which we've always had, the city knows, and everyone feels a lot more comfortable, especially when you have. And I mean, everyone, you get this with life, but when there's legal documents that are done, you have structure, you have organization, you have a board, and I get that from even studying biblical ethics in seminary. This stuff is absolutely crucial when you're running a ministry, that you have these things. And I mean, we have different strengths, and this is something I take very personal, and I do not mess around with it. And it was really good that we had good counsel, we had good attorneys, and everything that they needed, we had laid out, and everything was in proper order.
Yeah.
So that was good.
I so agree with that. And I think that's why it's so important that you do have that proper structure, so that you can have a board and you can have some elders, because they hold us accountable, and then it gives that people opportunity to go to if there's ever an issue. So I just want to make sure that's clear, that we do have that in play. We've had that since 2017. But yeah, so that's where we stand. I don't know how much more time. I don't know if you have anything else you want to say, James, or do you want to answer a question or two?
I don't know how to say thank you, but if you guys have any questions, I'm always good for improv. Usually gets me in trouble, but we're good.
No.
But it's great to hear from you guys.
Oh, thank you, Donna. She goes, I love the fact that you're an unconventional church. Yeah, I like that verbiage. Yeah. Unconventional. Is that
Minnie?
Donna.
On the bottom.
Minnie? Oh, the Minnie. Yep.
Minnie, Jim was supposed to come here and hammer a bunch of donuts, and he never showed Saturday. So we were looking for him.
Patty, we love you too. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
Kevin.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. Thank you, guys.
Thank you
so much. Yeah, so that's what we got. If you have any more questions, you can always email the barn and so forth. But we just really wanted to update you on that, and thank everyone that did come out for that particular evening. And we just keep saying since then, like, we don't know how to thank you. I know you're not doing it for us. We're on this journey together, just praising God for witnessing what he has done in so many people everywhere. And so I just would love for him to continue doing it here, but I want to hold it loosely. Like I was talking on the morning Bible study, just really hold it loosely and just see what he has planned, what he's got.
Yeah.
And
just
it's
thank
good.
you.
We know it's always good.
It's always good. We're just very grateful for you guys. Thank you. All right.
We good?
Good. Thanks, guys.
We love you guys. Thanks again. See you soon.
Oh, you